What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Clams. I'm Will, and I'm here on Long Island in New York, walking around the woods looking for mushrooms. We just had a bunch of really heavy rainfall, where we got more than about 2 inches of rain, which is a really good time. A couple of days after that, it's a really great time to find some mushrooms. And the weather is that nice in between where it's a little bit humid, but then it's also cool at night. So it is kind of a perfect scenario to find some mushrooms. What I'm looking for in particular today is cinnabar chanterelles. I've found them on this path before, so I'm hoping that because of the weather, I'm hitting it at the right time. So we'll see. I'm also a little bit out of breath. Clams is getting chubby up here in New York. I gotta get back to Florida. A little more active down there. And also, I eat a lot more up here. There's a lot more options for food than in Key West. But, all right, enough chit chat. Let's get looking. So I found something kind of cool. I found a big cluster of them once, but I wasn't filming anything. I was just walking around. And right now there are 2 of them here, so let me show you. So how cool is that? Let me try it. There we go. So that is called ghost pipe. It's not a mushroom, but it's also not a flower. And the reason why it's not a flower is because it doesn't photosynthesize. So like a mushroom, it's actually living off of the decaying matter on the ground. Now, here's where it also gets tricky. They're not poisonous, but they are. Meaning, you can eat a couple of them, you can steam them up, they taste kind of like asparagus, but too many of them, you're gonna have a really bad time. Now, that's where it gets tricky because you don't know how many is your limit. Another one, pretty cool. I don't really mess with them. They are really pretty and they're a really cool find, but because I don't want to chance it, I don't mess with them, but pretty cool find. So one of the things about mushroom foraging, which can be kind of frustrating, is that it's really random when they come up. You can kind of time things correctly. One of the most important things for yourself, if you're out looking for mushrooms, is to know which trees they grow off of. That is super important because that will narrow down your hunt. So if you know the trees, then you can look and say, okay, I have a better chance of finding them here. Now, once they bloom, you only have a finite amount of days before they start wilting and rotting and aren't that good anymore. You also have to beat other foragers. So it's not something that you just set out and, okay, we're going to get these today. It could be over the course of like 3 or 4 days. What wasn't there today might be there tomorrow, and so on and so forth. So this might be a many-part episode, well, many-day, one episode, but I might come out here a couple of days in a row just to see what we can find. Not what we are looking for. Now this is a bolete mushroom. Now, a little bit far gone, but that would have been very tasty. There's another one here. Oh, it's a whole cluster. How cool is that? All right, the hunt continues. I'm happy to see some mushrooms out here, but I'm surprised to see that they're as far gone as they are, considering we just had all that rain only a couple of days ago, but keep looking. So what I am seeing a lot of is mushrooms broken off and turned upside down and put aside, which means someone beat me here. That is someone breaking them off, looking underneath to identify them, and they got me. So we are going to change locations. So I moved to a different park because, like I said, I was walking around the other one and I kept seeing upturned mushrooms, meaning someone came, they were pulling them out, turning them over to identify them. So my chances of finding something were probably pretty slim. Somebody beat me to it. So I moved to a place called Stillwell. Didn't bring my camera with me at first because I just wanted to look around, and look at what I found. That is a beautiful chicken of the woods. So we're gonna grab that and cook up, I think, some mushroom tacos. All right, so just real quick, this is a chicken of the woods. It's a polypore bracket mushroom. They're easy to identify, obviously by the color. They don't have any lookalikes, so you're very safe in finding these guys and being sure that you won't make yourself sick. That's why I go after them. I am a novice mushroom forager, just started doing it, so I go after things that there's no mistaking them for anything else. If you do choose to go forage mushrooms, I would take a class, I would read up and go after species like this that don't have lookalikes, and you know that you're safe. And now what I mean by polypore is this, that they have little pores on the bottom, not gills. So that is one of the ways to correctly identify them. But this is one of the most beautiful chicken of the woods I've ever found. Look at that color. Unreal. So this is something kind of cool. I've used dried, and I usually put it on raw fish. It has a lemony flavor, and what it is sumac. But I just found some wild sumac. But it has like a very tart, lemony citrus flavor. Really, really nice over raw fish. But I don't think we're going to use it today, but now that I know that it's here, I'll come back for it. So I know I said tacos, but kept thinking about it. Chicken of the woods, chicken recipes. Let's do Nashville hot chicken sandwiches with our chicken of the woods mushrooms. I cannot get over, I mean, these are obscene how beautiful they are. The yellow on there. It's probably one of the best ones. I'm pretty excited because it's one of the best ones that I've ever found. All right, so to get started, we'll just clean off kind of that back dry bit. And the other important thing with chicken of the woods is that you want to make sure that they're thoroughly cooked through. We'll take off just the dry bits on the end here. Perfect. They can give you a stomachache if they're not cooked all the way through. So that is important. There was almost like yellow yolk, for lack of a better word, coming out of them when I pulled them. I don't know if you can see, but it was just amazing, amazing find. Normally with Nashville hot chicken, you do a brine with the chicken. So we're gonna do everything pretty much the same, that we would for if it was just chicken. So I have here sweet bread and butter pickles. And we are going to put the pickled brine on our mushrooms, and we're going to let these sit for at least an hour, and while we get everything else ready. So I'm going to have to flip those around because there's not quite enough room in here. But I'm going to let these sit in the fridge, and we'll get started on the mix and the hot oil and everything else. Behind me I have peanut oil in a pan, and that's filled up about halfway. So I'm going to get that started. I want that to be at 375. Now, what we're going to dip in is buttermilk. Pour that in. Inside the buttermilk, a little bit of garlic salt, some dried dill, ground white pepper, some onion powder, which always ends up clumping together. Break some of that off. And some hot sauce. You want a vinegar-based hot sauce. Normally, I would go with Crystal, but they didn't have it, so we gotta go with Tabasco. Note in the comments if you're an anti-Tabasco person. That is another one that people don't seem to be, you know, they're one way or the other. It's either Crystal or Tabasco, but I'm gonna empty this entire bottle in here. All right, so that is one part of our batter. Now for the second part, what we're gonna dredge the mushrooms in. So I have flour. You could use all-purpose flour. I like Wondro because it's very, very fine. And cornstarch. I'm gonna do probably a 2-to-1 to make it really nice and crispy. All right, so now in our flour, pretty much the same herbs and salt and everything else that we put into our buttermilk, with the addition of a little bit of cayenne pepper. Now we'll mix that up. And I've said it in other episodes, I'll say it again. Anytime that you're using a flour dredge, you want to be able to see the spices in your flour. If you can't see the spices, you don't have enough, add more. Which I'm going to live by my own words here. Add a little more salt, a little more pepper. Okay, put this aside. When the mushrooms are done marinating, we'll batter them. By that time, the oil will be ready and we'll get to frying. Okay, I've flipped over our mushrooms a couple times in the pickle brine. So our mode of operation here is going to be from the brine into the dredge, into the buttermilk, back into the dredge, then onto a rack to actually dry and let the breading dry. It'll stick to it better and actually stay more formed and get crunchier in the oil. Then into the buttermilk. Back into our dredge. And now I'm going to put this on a rack that I have here just to let that dry. All right, I got my oil at about 360, 375. My paper towel ready to go. so that when these come out, we'll put them straight on the paper towel. Give them a flip just to make sure we're getting even coverage. All right, these are looking good. Oh. Now our last one. Now because of that cornstarch, nice and crunchy. So now we have to make our hot oil. So what I have in here is cayenne pepper, paprika, chili powder, a little bit of white pepper, and brown sugar. And all you do is take a ladle of your fry oil while it's still warm, because that'll dissolve everything in there. And give that a stir. Alright, let's make our sandwiches. Okay, so I have here just a plain white bun. I have my bread and butter pickle slices, but now comes a very important part, and that is dressing our chicken with our hot oil. So there you go, our Nashville hot chicken sandwich. I'll get that later. It's a little too nice to eat inside, but here is our Nashville hot chicken sandwich. Chicken of the woods. That's pretty funny. Okay. I hope you can see that. But that mushroom looks like chicken. That pickle brine was a good move. I'm glad I didn't make tacos. This also isn't going to help clams get any less chubby. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, definitely getting chubby, but when food is this good, it's hard. Well, alright guys, thanks a lot for coming along on this one. If you like it, hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.